In this episode of Falmouth in Focus, we'll visit the Falmouth Farmers Market to see how excess produce is benefiting the needy in Falmouth. Stop by a local business to see how they've adapted during COVID-19. And say goodbye to summer with a Digital CLOC finale. All this and much more on this episode of Falmouth in Focus.
Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, FCTV's current affairs program. I'm your host, Michael Kasparian. As the autumn months are just around the corner and schools are beginning their plans to welcome students back to learning, the COVID-19 pandemic continues to affect all of our work and leisure activities. Falmouth's health agent, Scott McGann, continues to stay on top of the latest local and state information and regulations, and his weekly briefing each Friday is a good way to stay informed. Tune into FCTV Government Channel 15, our Facebook page, and fctv.org, which also includes links to local and state safety information. Before Senator Ed Markey won his primary election on September 1st, his bus tour made a stop in Falmouth on August 27th for an early vote rally as part of his Leads and Delivers bus tour across the Commonwealth. FCTV was there as he greeted supporters on the Village Green.
The second fastest warming body of water on the planet is right off the coast. Right off the coast of Massachusetts. The Arctic is the fastest warming. We have the second fastest warming body of water. And Falmouth is in the crosshairs. And that's why I stand up and fight. We're Massachusetts. We have the second fastest warming body of water in the world right off our coastline. It's an emergency. We have to act now. We have to act fast. We have to deploy wind and solar, all electric vehicles, plug-in hybrids, battery storage technologies, energy conservation strategies. We can create millions of new jobs. We need a Green New Deal to create millions of jobs that saves all of creation by engaging in massive job creation. We need to rebuild, we need to replace the Bourne and Sagamore bridges. That's why I brought the head of the Army Corps of Engineers down there, and we're going to do it in a green way. We're going to do it in a sustainable way. We're going to do it in a way that is the 21st century. And I give you my commitment on that as a member of the Infrastructure Committee, because in the Biden era, we're going to pass a $2 to $3 trillion green infrastructure bill, and the Bourne and Sagamore bridges will be in there for their replacement.
Thanks to Andrew Richards for that coverage. As COVID-19 has disrupted all of our lives and caused concerns about the food supply chain that supplies our traditional grocery stores, more and more Falmouth residents have tried their hands at growing their own backyard gardens. A local nonprofit, Farming Falmouth, has created the Share Your Bounty program that will allow backyard gardeners to donate their extra produce to those in need.
We partnered with the Falmouth Farmers Market and the Service Center, and we got a donation from Martha's Vineyard Savings Bank to basically give a token of appreciation for people that are donating. And so this donation system allows the Service Center to pick up once on Thursdays, and they get canned goods, fresh produce, and now we're encouraging home gardeners that have way too much produce, which happens. We all have too many cucumbers at one moment, and so we're saying if you want to share your bounty with the community, there's a need and a want, and now we have a great avenue for you to come and donate excess food and canned goods to the community. Jay Burnett is our boots on the ground. He's our representative to the Service Center, and we've met with the new director, and she's come here and expressed extreme gratitude for the program because it's given them a way to accept donations safely again. And so as this goes on, we're hearing from more and more people that are getting their pickups on Fridays and how excited they are at the look of that produce that's coming in.
Makes a tremendous difference. The Service Center has to pay for most of their fresh produce. A lot of it's from Greater Boston Food Bank, but they get some from other sources. But it's not always the best quality, and very little of it is organic. The vendors here are organic farmers. They're overly generous.
Service Center drops off at 1 o'clock. They come with coolers and bins and containers for us to fill. We have a few of our own coolers for the beginning before we get that, so in case donations come in before 1. And then we have a Service Center representative comes and picks all that up at the end of the market. He goes and he collects from the farmers, and then we kind of help him get it on the truck. But there was 6 coolers last week full, and so a full bed of a small pickup truck plus the cab in 1 week's donations. And that was before the publicity started happening, so it's getting better every week. So the Service Center is super grateful. Every week has been more successful. Every week we get a little more buzz, and every week more donations come in. So, I mean, every little bit helps. So that 4 tomatoes, there might be 4 families that haven't gotten a tomato in the last couple weeks because they don't have a garden or they don't have a yard and they're in an apartment. You know, it's like a fresh piece of produce can bring so much joy into somebody's life that 1 tomato is totally worth a donation. And if it's worth your time to come down here, we'll also give you a token of gratitude for 4 tomatoes. It's about the gift. It's about giving the community a chance to support each other. So I think any donation, small or large, is fantastic.
The Falmouth Farmers Market operates at Marine Park every Thursday from noon to 5 p.m. through October 8th. Thanks to Bob Fenstermaker and Andrew Richards for that story. It's time now for 3 things from Town Hall, FCTV's condensed version of the takeaways from recent municipal meetings. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
During the last Select Board meeting, a variance request was discussed for a flow-neutral bylaw at Spring Bars Road and Worcester Court. This site has plans to open a Wendy's restaurant, and the variance would allow the operator to connect to the newly installed sewer system. Some concerns were expressed over how this business would benefit Falmouth and how many and how much employees would be paid. The board ultimately voted 3-2 to approve the variance.
So the request for a business-owned property in this location, right behind Cappy's, next to other commercial property across the street from a bank near the Falmouth Mall. It seems to be a pretty reasonable request. The selectmen need to determine that there's capacity in the municipal system for the proposed flow, and you need to be advised by the Board of Health that a Title V septic system could be installed for the proposed use on the lot.
Health Agent Scott McGann updated the Select Board on the current situation Falmouth finds itself in regarding case numbers of COVID-19 in town. Mr. McGann reported that new cases in Falmouth remain minimal and overall cases remained at 241 at this meeting. Mr. McGann also discussed with the board the number of tests and negative cases are relatively good, and Falmouth is doing a good job of containing the spread of COVID-19. The board reinforced the proper use of masks and social distancing, citing that these practices have helped Falmouth stay successful in containing the virus spread.
We remain at 241 cases. We've had only 4 cases for the month of August, which is a good sign. You know, we were maybe struggling a little bit with the nursing home and the lifeguard, late July. But we're averaging, I think we had 1 case over the past week. So, I mean, that's a good, wonderful number to have. So that's where we are as far as the cases go.
Great.
That's true of the entire Cape. The entire Cape's averaging less than 10 a week, it looks like, looking at the Cape's data. So we're sort of doing the same as the Cape is with our numbers right now. In terms of Falmouth, weekly, there's a weekly dashboard. You guys know the daily dashboard, and then there's a weekly one on Wednesday. They have a new chart that shows red for high infection, yellow for moderate, low in green, and almost non-existent in white, or less than 5 cases total in 14 days. And right now we're currently in green, and if we have another good week, I think maybe even by Wednesday we might be white, because we've been pretty good on the caseload.
The board also took up the discussion of postponing the civil service law debate in the upcoming continuation of town meeting this September. The board cited that this may not be the time to have a deep and constructive discussion on this important matter. The board anticipates much debate regarding civil service provisions and notes that in light of the current pandemic, it may be helpful to continue this important debate at another time to allow proper debate. The board took no action in this meeting regarding the subject and will continue their discussion at a later time.
And just to go back to what Julian was talking about, sort of in a little bit more of a timely piece, we do have the article that's hanging over from spring town meeting. And I know you and I have had some discussion, and Julian as well, about the fact that we know we're not going to really necessarily be in a position to have a 2 nights, of long debate. This is going to be a subject on which there'll be a lot of debate, as there should be. And we would want to hear from all officers, past, present, anyone who wants to speak on it. And this may not be the best time for that article to go forward, given the fact that it's not going to be a great setting for public debate, in September.
To see the meetings in their entirety, check out Government Channel 15's program schedule at fctv.org. It's time now for our calendar segment. At Highfield Hall and Gardens, their fall art show titled Ancestry and Legacy opened on Wednesday, September 2nd and runs through October 31st. Artists in the show contemplate how their own unique ancestries influence both their present lives and future legacies, using the forms of photography, painting, sculpture, and ceramics. On September 26th, families are invited to a Where Are the Wings scavenger hunt. The event will benefit Wings for Falmouth Families, an organization that provides families with financial assistance during a medical crisis or tragic event. Check out wingsforfalmouth.com for more information. West Falmouth Library is pleased to host New York Times bestselling author Michael J. Togas for a Zoom author talk on Wednesday, September 30th at 7 p.m. with his multimedia presentation, The Untold Story of the Cuban Missile Crisis. This exciting and fascinating talk is based on the best-selling book co-authored by Togas, Above and Beyond, JFK and America's Most Dangerous Spy Mission. Email the library at westfalmouthlibrary@gmail.com for the Zoom meeting code. And finally, don't forget to join us on Thursday, September 24th for the next virtual installment of our open mic series, Poetic License. Sign up for another night of poetry and prose, stories and songs, with entertainment provided by you and your friends and neighbors. Pre-register by Wednesday, September 23rd to receive your Zoom login information. Check out fctv.org for more information. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll take a ride to East Falmouth to visit a local business that has been surviving the challenges caused by COVID-19. Stay with us. Welcome back. Falmouth Community Television is committed to helping support our local businesses as they transition during the changing phases of reopening during the coronavirus pandemic. FCTV stopped by Bad Martha's Farmers Brewery to speak to General Manager Josh Flanders.
My name's Josh Flanders. I am the General Manager here at Bad Martha Farmers Brewery. We started up on Martha's Vineyard in Edgartown in 2014. And we opened our second location in East Falmouth last year, right in the beginning of September. So we're just getting into our 1-year anniversary. We make all of our own beer that we serve on draft, up to 16 different beers on draft. We do brick oven pizzas, small plates, cheese and charcuterie platters, and we have a beautiful landscaped space for you to sit outside amongst flowers and landscaping and pergola space. So we have plenty of room for everyone, which we're really grateful for. I know a lot of businesses aren't in that position, but we do have expansive outdoor seating. So in March, with COVID coming out and the state issuing shutdown guidelines, we obviously came to a full stop here. We quickly transitioned to a curbside pickup, takeout menu option, and that picked up some traction over the coming weeks. We We're doing a decent amount of pizzas every night, so it's really great to see the community coming out and supporting us. And I got a lot of positive messages as I was bringing pizzas out to people's cars. So as soon as we were able to reopen in June, early June, we did so under the guidelines, same as everyone else, outdoor seating only, tables 6 feet apart, making sure cleaning and sanitizing up to code, masks have to be worn on entry, and whether you're going to the bathroom anywhere in the building, you obviously have them off while you're seated. We had to completely change our business model. We didn't do any table service. We didn't have hosts. You just came up to the bar and ordered. It was very casual. People drifted around. They weren't assigned space. So we've had to go to more of a traditional restaurant model and sort of learn that as we went, because that's never how we've operated. The toughest part this summer has been staffing and just consistently having the help that we need to provide good service. We've pretty much been understaffed every single day this year, and some days very severely understaffed. We're happy to employ almost 30 people, 30 local people here at a time. But overall, it's made us stronger as a company, and so we're coping the best we can, and it's going pretty well, and we're definitely fortunate to have the setup we have to be able to meet these guidelines and create a safe space for people to enjoy the business during COVID. A lot of people have asked us about the sculptures you can now see in our meadow. You can see them from the road. They're large and they're definitely eye-catching. They were created by a sculptor, Thomas Malley, who started a gallery on Martha's Vineyard in West Tisbury called the Field Gallery. They're just fun, whimsical pieces, and they remind us of the vineyard where we started up, and a lot of people who have visited Martha's Vineyard for years will recognize those, and it just sort of ties us into where we came from. So we love having them out there. They're fun, and people love taking pictures and mimicking the poses. So just something fun we wanted to add to our meadow space.
Stay tuned to FCTV and Falmouth in Focus in the months ahead for more stories about Falmouth's businesses and how they are adapting to the ever-changing restrictions due to COVID-19. Thanks to Andrew Richards for that story. Cape Cod is a stranding hotspot for many marine animals. The National Marine Life Center helps these animals rehabilitate and then releases them back into the wild. FCTV spoke with President and Executive Director Kathy Zegzebski to see what this year's summer season has been like for them.
Well, during the pandemic, we, like everybody, every individual and business and small business and nonprofit, we've had to make adjustments to our operations. As an essential business, the animal care side of the National Marine Life Center's program and mission continued with in-person efforts in order to provide direct hands-on care to sick and injured marine animals in need. Some of our colleagues at other organizations were not so lucky and in fact had to close their doors to stranded seals. And that's one reason why we had so many seals this seal season. Another reason, perhaps counterintuitively, as more people were staying home from work or school, we also noticed that where they were allowed, they took breaks by going out on the beaches. And this was at times when maybe people wouldn't normally be on the beaches in such numbers. Also coincided with one of the busiest stranding seasons per year, and that's the harbor seal pupping season. And harbor seal pupping presents a particular challenge to us at the National Marine Life Center and to all our colleagues working in the field. We have harbor seals that are giving birth to a single pup. They nurse their pup, and then periodically the mom has to go offshore to feed, leaving her pup alone on the beach. Normally that pup is perfectly fine on its own, but when you have more people on the beach and people finding this small, tiny little seal and it looks helpless, and usually with the best of intentions, but people would approach it, interact with it, try to feed it, take selfies with it, basically all those things that really added stress to the pup. But even more seriously, having people near the pups will scare the mom away. So we have, you saw a number of our seals in the hospital now that are getting ready for release after having been here for 3 months or so. Many of them came to us in part because of human interaction on the beach. So we anticipate continued challenges during sea turtle season because many of our facilities we anticipate will continue to be resource challenged going into the fall. There are some pretty significant limitations on the numbers of people that you can have on site and things like that. That said, all of our organizations are strongly committed to doing whatever we can for the sea turtles. We know that if they're left on the beach in the winter, sea turtles will have a 0% chance of survival. So we're planning on we have different contingencies. Like if we only have this many turtles, we can provide care at this level. If we have this many turtles or this many turtles, then we might have to cut down some on the number of tests, but we can still save more turtles by bringing them through here. And with the most common sea turtle to strand is the Kemp's Ridley turtle, and they strand most often on Cape Cod. They happen to be the most endangered sea turtle in the world. And so, in a way, it's kind of a Cape Cod trust to be able to take care of these animals that just get trapped inside our bay. And every individual that we can get back out there any way we can to get back to the wild can help restore their population. So we've got plans and contingency plans, and all we know is that we are going to continue to need a lot of help and support from our fellow Cape Codders who also love sea turtles.
If you want to learn more about the National Marine Life Center and their many programs, visit their website, nmlc.org, or check them out on Facebook. Thanks to Alan Russell for that story. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll check in with some of the Falmouth Public Schools to see what classrooms will be like when they're ready to welcome back students. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Falmouth Public Schools have been working diligently to finalize a reopening plan for all students grades K through 12. Reconfiguring the classroom spaces to maintain social distancing between students and their teachers has been at the forefront for district staff so that each school can reopen safely.
So here we are at Falmouth High School. This is a typical classroom. This happens to be an English teacher's classroom. Most desks are 4 to 5 feet apart in rows and 4 to 5 feet between aisles, and in this particular classroom we can actually fit 15 desks in here at that spacing. And we also have in this classroom, what all classrooms will have is a sanitization station for students to use, which is very nice, and it's up in the front of the classroom. And then the teacher in this classroom and in all classrooms has a 6 foot or more buffer in the front of the classroom where they can do all of their instruction. Okay, so here we are in a Falmouth High School cafeteria. Our students will be eating in 2 lunch waves, and we have set the desks 6 feet apart in all of the cafeterias. Students will be getting a box lunch from our cafeteria staff, and mealtime is considered a mass break, and so students will be having, this will be one of their mass breaks, their lunch wave. And also for other mass breaks, so all schools are required to have at least 2 mass breaks. We do have another mass break built into a part of our day. And while mass breaks can take place in a classroom with students and staff 6 feet apart from each other, mass breaks can also take place outside. So if a teacher so desires, a teacher can take a class outside for the second mass break.
Thanks to Ryan Weber for that information. Please stay tuned to FCTV Education Channel 14 for the latest information about the school's reopening plans. As we've chronicled in previous Falmouth in Focus episodes, the College Light Opera Company's performance experience for their students this summer has been completely virtual through a curriculum of workshops, master classes, and performances that allowed the participants the chance to benefit from the CLOC experience. Let's check out a Digital CLOC season finale.
Once more, the day was simple and merry, free from this one day. magnanimity. We display true lace and dimity. Never was such opportunity to get married with impunity. But we give up the felicity of unbounded domesticity, though a doctor of divinity is located in this vicinity.
I observe the magnanimity. They display true lace and dimity. Never was such opportunity to get married with impunity. But they give up the felicity of unbounded domesticity, though a doctor of divinity is located in this vicinity. But we give up the felicity of unbounded domesticity. But we give up the felicity of unbounded domesticity, though a doctor of divinity, a doctor of divinity.
Thanks to the staff and students at the College Light Opera Company for their contributions to Falmouth in Focus this summer. Stay tuned to FCTV to remain connected to your local community as we continue to bring you the latest developments and news through our local coverage of the coronavirus phased reopening plan. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, our website, and stay tuned to channels 13, 14, and 15. And FCTV wants to remind you that television can be as easy as hitting record on your smartphone. We'd like to invite all Falmouth residents and visitors to share their slice of life with us. Email us your photos and videos, or upload them to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using the hashtag MyFalmouth or Falmouth in Focus to be featured on the show. Thank you to our most recent contributors. We leave you now with the sights and sounds of the dogs of the Falmouth Road Race. Thank you for watching Falmouth in Focus. We'll see you next time.